Good morning, I'm Frank Powers, and this is Lifestyle Tucson, the program where I speak to our neighbors, the people behind the scenes of our amazing organizations, small businesses, and nonprofits. Our friends are informing you how they serve our community, and they're here to give you updates on future projects. Let's make some new old friends today. My very first episode of Lifestyle Tucson in January of 2023 was with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson. And with about 5 episodes to go before episode 100, it's great to welcome back the Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson and to talk about their big event, HeART. I love art, you know me. And on Thursday, October 17th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the San Pedro Chapel on Fort Lowell, it's going to be a big celebration of art, and you don't want to miss it. So we're going to get all the details, because the mission of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson is to provide young people in our community, especially those in need the most, with a clear path to reach their full potential and pursue their dreams. They're certainly doing that at this big event. So I can't wait, because I'm all art-fueled and heart-fueled, and I'm fortunate enough to speak with Cindy Robertson, founder of heART. Cindy, welcome to Lifestyle Tucson.
Well, thank you.
And Julie Trujillo, Vice President of Clubhouse Operations of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson. Julie, welcome to Lifestyle Tucson.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yay, welcome back. Are you so excited? It's a big anniversary.
Yes,
Thank
awesome.
You were kind of my first guest. I talked to the CEO on the very first episode of Lifestyle Tucson, which you can listen to on demand anytime you want. But this is almost my 100th episode, and the timing working out of this great event, getting into my inbox, and I saw the flyer looks great, super fun. But HeART with the big caps of ART right there, and heART for Artworks is a big event that we're going to celebrate kids' art. So I'm really excited to talk all about it. But why don't you give me a little 101 of what the Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson is all about, and then we're going to get into the big event, and we're going to talk all about it today. So what's the Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson? We've all heard it, but why don't we really get the details?
So Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson is an after-school program located in 6 neighborhoods throughout the county, and we're here for everybody. Kids can come after school and do homework. They can play in the gym. We do have organized activities that we do. We have life skills programs, and we do art. We get them out in the community. We have field trips, and just it's somewhere for them to go and not be at home while their parents are working.
That's exactly right. It's a big, important place. We've all heard about it. But now let me ask you this very important question. And who should go to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson?
Everyone.
Everyone should go.
Between 7 and 17 years old.
That's right. It's a great place. I've volunteered a little bit at Boys and Girls Clubs, and it's really fun to go get involved. See these kids being wild, having a good time. See these poor volunteers that have to wrangle these kids. But they're a bunch of great folks, too. I always love talking to the volunteers and the people that work for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson, because you're really doing something very important that's been going on a good long time, because the Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson and the Boys and Girls Clubs in general have been around a very, very long time. And you could hear the entire origin story on that very first episode of Lifestyle Tucson, because I really delved deep into the history of the Boys and Girls Clubs. You can go to their website to go find out which Boys and Girls Club is close to you. bgctucson.org is how you're going to find out which one you want to go participate at. And we're going to talk about kind of a big innovation with tech in a little while. But first, we got to talk about some of this art. Let's talk about heART. And I'm really excited to talk all about it because, Cindy, I'm an artist, and I spell cartoonist with a capital ART right there in the middle as well.
I love it.
So tell me all about heART and what you've been doing since you created. You're the founder of heART, correct?
Right. You're right.
Tell me everything.
So it's a special art program that we run for the kids. And like I said, their ages are 7 to 17. And we open it up, and basically we're doing naive art, which is folk art. So you don't need any training for it. But the thing about it, it's a special program because not only do we study the art, we have visiting artists come in and visit with them and give them lessons, but it also teaches the children the whole cycle from the beginning of an idea to creating it. And then we get to have a big show, and then they get to see their art sold. And the people that come in to buy the art, they love to meet the young artists. You see their confidence building. It is really a remarkable thing to witness. It's kind of like watching a flower bloom, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to see, and it really does instill in the children not only that they can do something, but it's appreciated, and it's just a huge joy. It gives it back tenfold.
That's so important. I say that almost every creative project, I call everything sculpture. That's what I do. Because the thing about art is it's the thing that video games lost. Video games used to get game over in Pac-Man, and then it's like, you're done. Now, there's no game over anymore. Kids just get to save constantly. And the thing that art is it teaches you how to fail, how to make mistakes. And art is the way that we learn how to make a choice and then erase, make a mold and then remold. Pick a color and then remix that color. Like, you can make these decisions and try again. I know I'm on a rant. So you can tell I love art, and I'm going to be there on the day of Thursday, this big event that's happening for HeARTworks, because I don't want to miss it. And it's going to be one of my favorite things to do is to buy someone's art on October 17th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the San Pedro Chapel at 5230 East Fort Lowell in the zip code of 85712. If you now know you're living close, well, then get out and take a walk. What are you looking the most forward to at HeARTworks? Since you're the one that started all this, what are you so excited to see on this big day?
It's to watch the children and their reaction, because it is a celebration of them, and they do get so excited, and they want to tell the people how they made it and what they were thinking of when they did it. And I do tell them there is no mistake in art.
Yeah.
It isn't. And we work mainly with acrylics, and we always laugh and say the good news about acrylics is it dries fast, and the bad news about acrylic is it dries fast. So it gives you some leeway.
That's so funny. Like Bob Ross says, happy accidents, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
they are.
Right. That's
they are.
right. When I was growing up, I don't think I sold my first piece of art till I was in my 20s. This just wasn't something that people conceived of in the 80s and the 90s. So there's so much opportunity for these kids to explore their creativity in the world of art because of the program that you are providing them, the opportunity you're providing them. So thank you for making this such a big part of your life to do this. So let's get back about the Boys and Girls Clubs in general, because I just brought up 3D printing. So that's a bit of tech. And you were talking to me off air about you're going to have a big renovation of one of your clubhouses. It's going to get really technical. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so our Holmes Tuttle Club that's on 36th Street is currently under renovation, and we're turning it into a teen tech and workforce readiness club.
Workforce readiness. The business of, that's going to be on after me. That's all they talk about with these people. They need workforce readiness. So yes, that's fantastic to hear that. Go on.
Yeah, so we want to partner with different companies and organizations so that we can have our teens out there doing job shadowing, coming to visit and see what it takes to run a business. Because sometimes you just see the people that are up front, but they don't realize all the stuff in the background that's happening. So we want to make sure that we're bringing these businesses to our teens and let them see the whole vision of that.
That's right. They got to learn that not all the good stuff's in the back. Everyone thinks it is. No, it's not. All right, it's storage back there. But no, that's important, because doing it, they got to see it and do it. Shadowing, what an opportunity. There's a reason doctors do it. There's no reason that anyone can't do that, to learn about a skill or to learn about an experience. The experience of, guess what, kids? You're going to have to get some lame job too. It's called growing up. You're going to have to get some job either at a grocery store or tell this to all your kids. A job that they can get is Trader Joe's. Every sign in Trader Joe's is hand done. Every Trader Joe's has a 1 or 2 person, maybe 3 person art team. Great company. Benefits are great. Fun organization. They hire friendly folks. And it was my job to say the bananas are appealing, right? And I got to make all these funny signs, signs as small as an inch sign for gum or as big as a 17-foot wall mural. There's a lot of opportunity for that, for your kids to get a job at Trader Joe's. And then you got to work the register too, and you got to unpack things. You're going to learn some of those other skills, but then they're also still doing some art. They're doing some art for a career. For me, I'm just a motor mouth on this, sorry. But this is so important. And again, thank you for the work that you're doing at the Boys and Girls Clubs, helping these kids out, because these kids need a future, because parents are working nonstop more than ever now. Yeah. And I'll just say this, it is up to these kids to make their future. Just get to work, kids. Find a thing you're passionate about and go for it. Can't start young enough and become who they want to be with their identity, which is another thing I talk about a lot. I realized who I was in school because I was the shyest kid. when I became the art kid. Finally, I wasn't Milhouse anymore. I'm not the nerd. Every TV show I saw growing up says, oh, you're a loser. And I had a fight. And I eventually get picked out by a teacher that says, Frank Powers is the best handwriting in school. And it was at that moment, everyone turns and looks at me like on a TV show. And I'm like, oh. And I like figured it out. And I started helping kids with their penmanship and with their art projects and helped me come out of my shell. Because I got bullied so much. I had so much anxiety going to school. And art was the thing that helped me find who I was. I'm not the nerd. I'm the art kid. He's the football player. She's the cheerleader. And Frank's the art kid. And I was the poster for the art show. And in 8th grade, I got perfect attendance because school became a fun place to be. And that's what you're helping these kids with, is helping them find who they are. Again, I'm talking too much. Tell me more, again, about helping these kids with HeARTworks, and tell me some stories that you've seen, because tell me some success stories that you've experienced helping kids with art.
I think one of the most wonderful things is you get new kids that come in, and I have a lot of the kids, they love the program, so they want to always come. And we are limited, per class of how many people that we can have. And you get a child that comes in and they see what we're getting ready to paint and they freeze and they go, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. And I always say, oh, yes, you can. It's just because you haven't been shown how. But it's wonderful when the child sitting next to them say, come on, I'll help you because this is fun and you will get this.
Yep.
And it's just that encouragement. And it's just believing in yourself. When I first started this program, I didn't realize it was going to get as big as it was. And I started volunteering, which, by the way, I need volunteers.
We'll get to that. If you can't donate your money, donate your time, folks.
So I started out just a couple of hours a day at one of the clubhouses. And if you ever go to a clubhouse, you will see that every room has a big picture window. So you can, at any time, walk into the clubhouse and you can see what's going on in that particular room. And so I was in the art room, and it was a small room, and kids they were just fascinated. They would line up at the window, and they were watching, and they were knocking on the door because they wanted to come in. Well, we were at max capacity in there. And so I would finish the class, and then they were asking if they could come in. So 1 hour turned into 2 hours. And the next thing I knew, I was teaching from 9 until 4 in the afternoon.
Wow.
And that was no break for lunch. That gave me enough time to switch gears for the next class. And the thing was, there was a child that was crying because there was no room. He couldn't come in. And I went home that day, and I told my husband, I said, I have to do this more than one day. And I ended up teaching 4 days a week in the summer. And that's how HeARTworks started. The need was there and the desire was there. And then it went from one clubhouse to all the clubhouses. And sometimes you'll see me in the car with an art card. So, if they can't come to me, I try and go to them. But anyway, it's a wonderful program. And I will say the art will blow you away. I can't wait to see your reaction when you see it.
I'm super excited. Let me ask you, those 4 days, is that still volunteer?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. She's a legend, folks. You hear it? You hear what some people do? What are you doing? Are you sitting down? Are you sitting on the couch scrolling? Well, you should get up and put that phone away. You got somewhere to go. And it's to help her out, help you out with this amazing program that you've got going.
Listen, if you can squeeze paint out of a tube, I need you, and you can do it.
That's right. And that's the other thing that I always try to point out. When you're teaching kids, boy, your level of excellence really skyrockets, where I get comments like, how do you draw circles so well? Anyone can teach kids. If you're a person out there and you know 101 about most anything, you can teach a kid because they don't know 101. Teach a kid some 101s and they'll be blown away. And one of the things that you're doing as well is providing the materials. How's the kid's ever going to paint if they're never going to randomly go buy paint for their home.
Right.
A kid will have crayons at home. They'll have colored pencils at home, and they'll have magic markers at home. Paint's a mess. Even washable paint, parents don't want paint around. So you don't often just have paint as loosely available at home, nor do you have clay. There's a lot of different mixed media materials, even glue to do a collage.
Yes,
right.
We do a lot of decoupage.
Decoupage, collage, super fun, and a good way for kids and littler kids to express themselves because they can't draw flowers, so they can use a flower. And then they'll make an amazing piece, and that's the idea. Providing them the opportunity to get all these materials, the space to do it, the time going down there as much as you have, the fact it's grown exponentially shows you how powerful the supply and demand of this is. The other thing about all this, like I was saying, you're teaching these important skills, because what's the other thing happening right now? AI everything. Yep. By the time these kids do get to, 10 years from now, those AI things are going to be, you type a word and it's a photo. It's flawless. It doesn't matter, because remember, people want art. Hey, I bet computers can AI voices too. That doesn't impress people. People are impressed when an opera singer does it. People are impressed when someone bangs out the national anthem. Can't we play the national anthem on tape every time we wanted to at a game? Yes, but we don't. You want to see someone belt it out, because human skills are still important, and the voice of what you create is still always going to be there regardless of technology. And you have to teach kids how to fail. That's something that you're teaching them: how to fail, how to try, how to achieve, how to start with something that they have no experience with, and then getting them through a little coaxing. Sometimes you have to ask for help. And then that person's like, oh, you just this, or you just that. And then that's all. Ask for help. That's the idea. And that's what you're providing all of these young kids. You're providing them help with something that they don't even realize that they might need help with. And it's just growing up. And that's what the Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson has always been about. It's about helping kids just grow up. A lot of things that happen in the world, there should not be, what do they call it? Like you want free events. You don't want an event that has a paywall, so not every kid can go. Having these free community events count, because you don't want a paywall to be in the way. And how much does it cost to join the Boys and Girls Clubs?
$20 a school year.
Oh.
But we also do scholarships for those that cannot afford it, because we don't want to turn people away.
Pretty amazing, but also that's a pretty fair price. How many weeks in that school year? A lot of them, all right? There's 180 days, I believe, in a school year. So the fact it's $20 is you still just covering the cost of, I'm sure, just some basic stuff.
Right.
And that's the idea. That's really important. And remember, everyone should go down to the Boys and Girls Clubs, because I'm sure that even if you are a family that thinks that this is only for kids that, they need help, or they're not as well off, or this and that. Oh, do you have a 3D printer sitting in your house? Not all you do. Do you have an amazing founder who's going to guide your kid and inspire them the way I'm feeling inspired with, by the way, your amazing accent, which is just so darling, and I can't even resist it, right? Who's not going to listen to her tell them to put some paste on paper? I'd listen to her do anything. That's fantastic. That's the idea, is meeting people that are going to inspire you and inspire kids to believe in themselves. And that's all I want. There's more adults that need to believe in themselves too. Get out there and volunteer, because you do matter, and you could have an impact on these kids at the Boys and Girls Clubs with your experience, especially if you're an artist. Go get involved. Get involved with HeARTworks. How can people get involved?
Well, they can sign up and just volunteer, come in. They do a background check, and then once we do that, we just give them the schedule, and they can come in and work with us. And it, like I said, it is an after-school program, so we're usually there from 4 to 6 for HeARTworks, depending on the day. But contact the Boys and Girls Club, and for sure you can come in and help. And you will get more out of it than you put in.
100%. I know it for a fact. I'm speaking from experience. Again, I'm not just out here going, blah, blah, get out and do it. I go do it. You got to put your money where your mouth is. And again, you're really stacking a really fun event that is a draw for me in general. No pun intended. Pun intended. All right. But that's the thing, is that I can't wait to go see the expressions on some of these faces, but also I want to see the art. Because the thing about teaching these kids, I was saying this before, because of anime and manga, like, they're so advanced, more than you realize what these kids can do. And I can't wait to see some of that. And I can't wait to buy some art, because that's like giving a kid a gift that's going to blow their minds, and it can really inspire them to do something forever. Is that moment, make that memory, right? That flashbulb memory that stands out in their minds forever, because it's an emotional memory about the first time this big thing ever happened with something they made, and that's really important to do too. So let's go inspire some kids on October 17th. It's a Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. at the San Pedro Chapel at 5230 East Fort Lowell, 85712. And let's go check out everything happening at HeARTworks dedicated to the self-confidence and artistic expression of all these kids at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson, Arizona. So I just want to thank you both for joining me today, because today we made friends with Cindy Robertson, founder of heART, and Julie Trujillo, Vice President of Clubhouse Operations of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Tucson, Arizona. Thank you both so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was Lifestyle Tucson. Bing bong bing, time for a recap. Firstly, let me apologize for talking way too much in this episode. But man, am I passionate about art, about helping kids with art, about volunteering, about the Boys and Girls Club, about the inspirational story that I got from Cindy, who, by the way, I also said she too much because I didn't have everybody's names locked in my brains there. But man, Cindy and her accent that I also ruined by not just letting her talk nonstop for 30 minutes. Because what a beautiful person. What an amazing individual who volunteers this much. And even more stuff, I found out that Cindy really just made this her life's work because she used to work in a different field and then had a really bad accident and had to retire from that. So the fact that she was home and didn't want to just sit around and found a purpose for something to do, and now she goes, this is why that happened, because this is my purpose, helping these kids. And that's important. The fact that she is able to volunteer 4 days a week, a lot of us don't have that opportunity. But since Cindy does, she's taken it. And look what she's done. She's helping out so many children, which is actually helping out a lot of you. Because a lot of happy kids in our community grow up to be a lot of happy adults in our community and successful ones. And that's what we need. You hear how much I believe in art getting us to be successful. So really, come on down and hang out with us on October 17th. Because I'm going to be there. It's a Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. at the San Pedro Chapel on Fort Lowell Road. It is going to be such a big deal. Zip code is 85712, just in case you want to make sure you're close. And I really want to see you out there. Buy some art, bring some money, and change a kid's life. It's called a flashbulb memory. That kid is going to remember for the rest of their lives the time that they sold art at the big art show. They can't believe it. So go make a difference. It's that easy. And I really hope you do. And get all the information over at bgctucson.org. Also, BGC Tucson on Instagram and Facebook. And again, I just want to thank everyone at the Boys and Girls Clubs for joining me today. Specifically, Cindy and Julie by name. You've been listening to Lifestyle Tucson. If you're a nonprofit that would like to be on the show, email lifestyletucson@gmail.com. For more information about this program or to listen to something you may have missed, go to the Sunday Mornings page on klpx.com, kfma.com, mixfm.com, or espntucson.com. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and Audible, or wherever fine podcasts are drawing a crowd. Follow on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Lifestyle Tucson, because I'm your BFF, your best Frank forever, Frank Powers. And toot toot Tucson, I love you the most.